and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dadley Boyz of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete. A bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review Dynamite. Sidge, on the preview yesterday, you were cautiously excited about this show. Did it deliver for you?
I was very excited, and it absolutely delivered, and it helped enormously that Chris Jericho was in it for 15 seconds. And I know people are digging him out all the time. I don't think it's like... I don't do it because it's the cool thing to do. I mean, I don't do anything because it's cool. I do this because Chris Jericho genuinely hampers my enjoyment of the program, and his work sticks out as the bad thing on it, and he was minimized. I wouldn't say it was entirely flawless on that basis, but it was close to that, and I had an exceptional time. There's loads to be excited about. You can sort of plot it all out now. Maybe that spider web is getting spun all over again. In-ring action, some promos. This is AEW. This was an All Elite Wrestling. What I expect, what I talk about when I talk about All Elite Wrestling.
Power's back.
It isn't back.
The power's back.
It's not. It can't be back until this was. I mentioned this on the preview, and the prophecy came true. I'm sorry, I'm stepping on your dick.
That's right.
Okay, because I'm just above.
You're probably right.
I'm just above.
I was just excited by a graphic.
Yeah, because I'm just above your belt.
It is as well.
Yeah. I did say
Ain't made of plastic.
I get a little bit concerned when you follow WrestleTix on X. If you don't, even go on X. WrestleTix is a great account that basically lets you know what the advances are, seating attendance-wise for the upcoming WWE and AEW shows, and some others as well. And you see, it's 2,000 sold again with 2 weeks out. Ooh, Collision's got 1,200 out. What? This one had like 3,500 out in a 10,000-seater venue, so I had a good feeling about the atmosphere. If it's like that every week, that's not too far away from the pomp, from the peak of the promotion, and especially in a venue that can best facilitate that amount of people. It won't be back until it sounds and feels and kind of looks like it's back, but content-wise, it's getting there.
I know what you're thinking, where were they yesterday? Well, they were at the Eagle Wank Arena.
The Eagle Bank Arena.
Sorry, yeah, I misspoke.
You popped us daft with that yesterday. It's the
Your thoughts on AW being back?
The power's back. That graphic.
It's not back.
I was up at midnight.
It's a graphic that with Jeff Jarrett.
We've been here before. Stop manifesting a...
Correction. You've been here before. I haven't thought the power's back for about 2.5 years. Right?
Did you not think it was back at Big Business?
Not really. Like, I thought Sasha Banks was back. That was about it. Like, I was up at midnight last night, and the graphic dropped, and it did...
Oh, not the Jeff Jarrett one. I've just realised what you're going to talk about.
Not even. Like, and then I was like, oh my God, it's really back. Like, that Cardiff show, to just build on what Sidgwick was saying about, like hot crowds and big feeling events and all that sort of stuff, they're going to have a massive one there. That's going to sell out. It's going to be red hot. The timing of it is fantastic. The era of Tony Khan's one big night, one big show for the UK thing is already over. Good. Like, it was a really great and noble idea. But in order to get a Wembley like the first Wembley, you basically had to put the tickets on sale the same week while the buzz was at its peak for last year's Wembley. So this is good. It only now opens the door to tours and the way a company with a huge international audience should realistically book. Great. I don't want to understate that as just, that's nice. It's not. It's more than nice. It's huge. Dynamite and Collision in the UK is massive.
Collision will be surreal.
Collision is going to be surreal. They're probably our time. Like, WWE have done it, so AEW should ultimately. Like, for years, the Raw would be taped, and then it would still not air until US time, and they've done away with that, and it's the right call, because you should offer both. Like, give the fans that are in the country, it's like, we were joking about it, but I was buzzing to be able to, like, watch SmackDown with my tea. It's the part of the experience of being here. AEW should absolutely do it too.
Dave Meltzer has always reported, backed up with data, that a tape delay, you would think intuitively, all right, well, if it's sports adjacent, which is what wrestling is, it's different to like a drama where you can escape spoilers. Like if you know the finish, you know the finish. It's like the result. You never watch a football game on demand. You just wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't personally, and not a lot of people would. Hence why AEW kind of exists. It's DVR proof.
People thought like when Sky Plus and DVR came around, people would like pause the football and stuff.
No,
it just didn't happen.
It just didn't happen. But you think intuitively that live would get way more viewers than tape delay. Doesn't have a bearing on it. So they absolutely should do it this way around.
Yeah, give it like as part of we're here in the UK, here's this, plus this, plus this. Like you cannot put enough on top of this experience. Like I say, I think it'll sell out. The shows will be like fantastic as a result. This is going back to TNA's business model when it was freezing cold in America. This is WWE always touring the UK, even in the new generation years, guaranteed. Bret Hart, like, I'm huge in Germany. He wasn't lying. Like, this is a smart bit of business, but also because of that sort of like, well, here's where we are hot. It made it feel hot. And then I scroll down and I've just seen that Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal were the Outrunners. I'm like, is the entire business back? And like, on it, that graphic drop earnestly felt like hot to me than a match graphic, that Cardiff Wales one, because it was just like, this here is an essential feeling thing. I might not be there in person for it, but I will absolutely be in front of the screen for it. I want to be a part of it in any way I can because it's leading up to All In, and then you watch this Dynamite and you're like, they have earned how exciting All In is starting to feel.
Yes.
It is at the expense of Forbidden Door, but a lot of getting hot and good again is at the expense of stuff you're doing sometimes. You've created it's sludge of your own making, but you do have to trudge through it. And then it's like, while we were trudging through that sludge, we were actually creating something pretty magic again. And there was so much on this Dynamite that encouraged you to fantasy book, of which we'll probably do in this review. And I was really disappointed at them. I felt like they've kind of thrown away a big element of the Forbidden Door main event, which we'll get to. But I still think it's worthwhile for the bigger picture. I haven't thought this deeply about AEW's bigger picture over one specific Dynamite for years. Probably, without it just being out-and-out fantasy booking. They are giving you the clues and the plotting and everything. There's loads of stuff to be excited about, and I do think it is things that they've been, you said like the spider web, it's not just a 1 week magic wand. They have been like very gradually having to just get through some stuff to give you I don't like the feeling. I didn't want to say the feeling, but it's because it's been abused now, hasn't it? But like they have given you, I think, the feeling back with so much of what we saw on the show.
Well, let's get into it then, because the show opened as advertised. No commercial interruptions. MJF versus Roosh, and they didn't mess about, battering each other from the moment it started. MJF strutting over Roosh in the early goings. Bit of a chop exchange. MJF gets all the crowd excited, and then of course just pokes him in the eye. Ref goes to check on him, but Roosh uses that as a chance to get in a headbutt, busts him open in the mouth. Roosh posed, kept MJF grounded, but missed the bull's horns. So instead, MJF hit him with a cradle DDT for 2. Got a pile driver as well in there. Then Roosh catches MJF, charging in with an overhead belly-to-belly into the corner. They go outside. Big shots into the barricade from Roosh, who grabs a chair. The ref's like, you can't use that. So he slides that into the ring, and obviously whilst the ref's busy dealing with that, he gets the wires and whips and chokes MJF, and for a split second I thought that strap match is on.
Yeah, same.
Roosh does the classic heel thing of ripping up a fan's sign, but faffing about there means he misses the bull's horns and eats a drop toe hold into a chair. They fight on the apron. Roosh hits an overhead belly to the floor, which looked rough for MJF to take, but looked class at the same time. Roosh goes for a finish, but he takes too long. Big lariat from MJF. Spinebuster, punches, a heat seeker, and a stalling brainbuster gets MJF the 1, 2, 3. And post-match, who should appear on the screen but the Cage of Agony? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Hechicero were like jokingly applauding and saying the EVPs have made the match. It's official for Forbidden Door, MJF versus Hechicero. Your thoughts on that in a sec, Sige, but first of all, your thoughts on the match.
I thought they measured this perfectly, and it was a great, great opener. On the preview, I was a little bit apprehensive about how the angles they shot in the build, while good, didn't really sort of make it feel like this is an absolute blood feud. These people despise one another. and they didn't sort of reach for that in the body of the match. They didn't try too hard to do a complete and utter bloodbath brawl where it might have felt a little bit hollow. They did a few sort of, I don't want to say like, because it's a pejorative, I don't want to say house show stuff, but it was more entertaining.
Yeah.
More entertaining than like sort of really sort of adversarial. And then they built to that peak rather than just pretend that they were already at it through the tone and the tenor of the build. MJF is like a magician, and I know it seems easy, but it isn't. I watch so much episodic wrestling TV. I'm clearly very jaded by quite a lot of it. AEW's on the upswing, thank God for that. But I see so many matches where there's just not much in the way of crowd heat. We've talked extensively about how matches for matches' sake are just getting increasingly, it's getting harder to do a really good one. It really is. And then because MJF just knows the rhythm and the way to dictate the pace and crowd interaction, that little bit where he goes, gets his hand, goes up, 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 and then they go, hey, and he goes, no, not loud enough. It's like the lead singer at the gig.
Yeah.
Like up, 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 and then they start going wild, and he gets them from that moment on, and then he goes, not yet, not yet, not yet. Go louder for this. And they go up, and then bang, poke in the eye. He's just a master at he's a conductor. He is a conductor. So you got that. He gets the heat that was possibly lacking in the build because it was so short. But then he gets it with his own individual brilliance, on the subject of which Rush was unbelievable in this match. He, it was weird because I'm talking about MJF on these previews, and the idea is he has to play it seriously as a babyface. It's a different character. The old one didn't bomb. Look at the Grand Slam rating. Look at FTU versus Better Than You, baby. But it kind of bombed in the tastemakers circles, the court of perception, whatever. He had to basically be, and Rush was the perfect guy to extract this. You have to be good at kicking ass and good at taking a beating. Holy hell, Rush was equally as good in that department. Like, to the point where I thought, has he jammed that neck? Has he got a stinger from that disgusting MJF move where it's like that sort of packaged DDT? And I thought, has he got a stinger here? And then it appears to be, no, he's just unbelievable at selling. So you got this great selling, great brawling, highly entertaining, didn't reach for the big pay-per-view caliber main event. Just a near-perfect TV match, this, with the correct result. I'll talk about the post-match angle after Hamflet gives his thoughts on the match.
Back into what Sid was saying there, I feel like it was a Rey Mysterio match, but there was something recently where we were just equally wowed by the ability to have a proper TV quality match. There is a difference. It's getting lost in across all mainstream wrestling, certainly, but I think especially in AEW with the introduction of the monthly pay-per-views, we talked about there's a kind of fatal flaw at the core of that in how you produce wrestling matches.
Yeah, Dynamite in-ring's not as good as it was. No. Tonight was an exception, maybe last week as well.
And it's got to take a different shape to really hit on television when you are kind of promising your premium version of it on the pay-per-view. It sort of has to, otherwise the overlaps damage both.
And then you just get the excess problem again.
MJF is one wrestler I have never once worried about mastering this, because so much of what might have alienated some was always sort of built for the difference. And ultimately, where he might have gone wrong is sometimes applying one rule to the wrong location. Like sometimes some of the stuff on pay-per-view might have felt a bit too TV and vice versa. And maybe that was an issue he encountered, but nailed this here. The pacing of all of this was pretty crucial because obviously they knew they were commercial free, so the temptation would be, we can go as hard as we like here without any sort of sense of an interruption. There's no need for the sort of headlock and the commentators to take the piss for a bit and the crowd knowing that you're coming down. We could do that. They decided, I feel, to work what felt much more like a real feeling brawl. There was always that sensation that both were going for the win. Roosh does identical cheating spots and yet does it in a way where you'll go with it every single time. It's like, you absolute bastard. It's like that in itself is an art form because you have that. Well, I can't get fooled again by it.
He's got a house match.
I've just been fooled by it.
He's got a house match.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It shouldn't, all the rest have spots, but that in particular shouldn't work as effectively as it does. MJF, I continue to sort of be impressed at his ability to, now I think I know where I'm at with the character. I continue to be impressed with his ability to just show, not that he can pretend to do stuff like he was trying to be the best babyface, or he was kind of like, my skill is I don't wrestle. It's that he can actually just do it all. I still maintain he's young enough to still be calling, you can still call him a prodigy. Like the way that Wrestler Prime, he gets older and older. He's still a prodigy. He's not faking at it. He shows you that he's actually figured that out as well. Some people I think will hate this kind of thing. Like MJF is a thinking man's pro wrestler, but I think a lot of the time, because of the style he chooses to think about, he's not considered one.
No, he's definitely a thinking man's wrestler. I would argue that that's people's problem with him.
Yeah.
That it's also cerebral and plotted out, and like maybe people think it's a front or a facade and he's not the real article or whatever. But he's doing a great job of making it feel like that with his new character, in my opinion anyway.
The chemistry was so good here. I couldn't not be disappointed then not book this whole thing in reverse. Yeah. I would have wanted to watch Hechisero's MJF's first match and then Roosh at Forbidden Door. Like when I've just seen a version of this match against Hechisero, like so it was hard.
They're
not to feel
entirely different wrestlers. They are entirely different wrestlers.
Yeah, but I just feel like one I would have been much more hyped for on a
one of them's
Door.
bigger and like is a star and has a presence, and
it feels weird.
MJF Hechisero is weird. One more thing, like I know it's so basic because again he does it every single match. When he did the strut MJF, I was like, oh, you're the best. I cackled.
He dished out the strut and thrust combo.
For
the first time ever at Double or Nothing 2023, and pointed to a section of the building that me and Sidgwick were convinced enough was close enough to us.
It's for my benefit.
That's Jarrett and Rick Rude in one pose, and then he's looking at us. Thanks, Max. So
it's amazing.
Love that.
Yeah, the post match, there was an element when you look at there's a good spider web and a bad spider web. There's spider web and spider web. This Cage of Agony, where it's like, where have you come from? For a start, with Hechisero. You know what I mean?
And they're around a lot at the moment, aren't they? It's like the elites. They're just like guns for hire or whatever they are.
Yeah, and then Hechisero's in the mix, but I don't really know why. Maybe it happened on Rampage. I don't know. Yeah. So you got Cage of Agony, and I get what they're doing. They're using Cage of Agony as a contrivance to draw together in this narrative the good spider web, MJF and Will Ospreay. It just feels a bit like this is on a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? Like we can plot it all out on a graph or whatever, all a bit sort of clinical and cerebral as a way of, right, if we can use this character and these characters to pull these two characters together, again, doesn't feel like a natural series of events and character interactions, in my opinion.
It's that thing as well where you're now
the destinations are really good.
Yeah, the bigger picture, something to be enthusiastic about, but the tricky thing now is by saying, it's Hechisero at Forbidden Door.
I want to look at that, though.
The whole point of the MJF character, though, is he has returned with hatred in his heart and he will be motivated by it. By giving you that match that is just weird and it exists for another storyline reason, they now have to kind of like summon the hate. MJF's got to do another one of his, can I talk him into this? And I love watching him test himself in that regard. But if they'd have just had...
He's only got next week.
Right, yeah. So, like, basic this, but, like, let's say there's just a massive heavy heat angle on MJF and he wasn't really ready for it because he's just made his return, he's just beaten Roosh, and then it's like, even if it was Hechisero, but let's just say Brian Cage hoists him through a table, it's like, this cannot stand, and then next week it's like, you mother... Like, can't believe you would do that to me, and it would be a bit... Because it's a graphic first, now it's like, right, it's been 7 days and I've invented a reason to despise you. It all feels a little bit forced, but it's because of the bigger picture with Ospreay.
Yeah, it's a contrivance.
That you can sanction it, yeah.
It's a contrivance. It is a contrivance narratively. However, I would never in a million years have put... If you're, like, looking up opponents for MGF, like, I was under the impression that they were going to do a stepped-up rematch with Roosh.
Same.
And if I was forced to think of alternatives, I'd go down the list. I don't think Hechisero would appear on it. And it's not that Hechisero hasn't wowed me.
Yeah.
It's not that Hechisero isn't quite incredible at this really distinct, cool style. I just think, what?
I had a back
versus him? But I want to look at it.
Yeah, no, I do get it. I had a back pocket idea of MJF versus Minoru Suzuki in that kind of like MJF refusing to show respect, not least because of his hatred now, but of his general disdain for like Japanese wrestling and what someone like Suzuki represents. And then it's like, now you really have to hate because you're going to be him. And AEW Suzuki loses all the time. So
yeah, the aura's gone with Suzuki.
Like the visual of that, I thought would have been nice.
He was always panto in AEW, but even as panto, I think it's a bit much for me these days.
They beat a lot of guys, didn't they? So it's like...
We go backstage another week, another Mark Briscoe promo. I can't do justice. Go and watch it. Basically, he said,
"It could be more than 2 words of the day."
Revenge and redemption with the 2 words. I can think
of 3 on a button because oh my god,
it's cutting this promo again. Go and worth,
Oh my god,
worth going to check out. When Jack Perry walks into shot and leaves.
That's AEW.
Yeah,
that's AEW. Sorry, I need to just talk about that very quickly. I tweeted last night. Oh, probably going to get into the Mark Briscoe promo because they've done the sequel to the match. So the thing that really pumped it up, let's do that again. And it's just that they are ahead of you at their best AEW, and that's the best thing about it. They'll always be ahead of you narratively in terms of their level of thinking and how to make things just that little bit cooler. And I just wanted the Mark Briscoe promo again. That would have been the extent to which I did it, but obviously he's going to be in a match with Jack Perry, who you want to heat up as one of your big heels in AEW. How do we do that? Let's just take an opportunity every single week, which you should do. It's episodic TV, and we've talked a lot about how focus on a core, so you never forget about them. And you didn't forget about Jack Perry. It's like, don't go into that shot, you arsehole. Mark Briscoe's talking. They should do Jack Perry versus Mark Briscoe.
Yes, they should. Maybe they will. Maybe
After
that's
the match, yeah.
Well, maybe that's the Ring of Honor pay-per-view main event. That's
Don't take Jack Perry away from the Ring of Honor stigma. Some people can survive it. Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe, and to a lesser extent like Claudio and Joe, pop in and out. You've got that respect. I think Jack Perry now, it's still so like tentative in terms of how much I believe in him as a guy who can be a guy. ROH has got that stigma of if you're an ROH, I immediately think lesser of you, and it's not
their next pay-per-view.
Their fault, but it's just that toxic brand of nothingness.
Right, pulling this
Toxic's not the wrong word.
Right, pulling this
it's
out
not
my
the right
ass,
word.
but is their next pay-per in Chicago?
What?
The summer Ring of Honor pay-per-view they've got coming up.
No, it's in Arlington, Texas.
Of course they're doing it. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Get CM Punk off your brain.
I was thinking of they've got something coming up at the, what's it called now? The Sears Center. They've got something else there down there.
Oh, yeah. I know it got out. I know it got it Chicago. 2,100 tickets.
What the hell happened to this business?
Your boy happened to this business. You wish he never came back.
He is business.
Anyway, Briscoe tells him, get hell out of here, and goes back to the promo. Obviously, yet again, Kyle O'Reilly super hyped up by this. So was Dante Martin. They follow him. They follow him anywhere after that, as we all would. Leaving Orange Cassidy was the Renee Paquette asking, who the hell's that guy? And giving her a friendship bracelet. I hope he hasn't done that with all of his mates. Jesus.
Christ, that'd be a worldwide shortage.
But
wouldn't be able to get string no more.
It's like watching John Cena or Cody Rhodes sign that like thousands of 8x10s.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy surrounded by beat. Oh,
then we got the face-off between the world champion, the number one contender, Swerve Strickland, and Will Ospreay.
That's a piece of string. Oh, no, that's orange.
So Will, they're coming out of the ring. Will says, here they are, same ring, same time. Last time they were there, he obviously snatched Swerve's title, and Swerve told him he couldn't carry the weight of both worlds. And Will says, I can. I held 3 different titles on 3 different continents at the same time. And Strickland, he says, is going to find out what the rest of us already know, that I, Will Ospreay, am the best wrestler in the world today. Swerve's like, well, you've already messed up because I'm the best wrestler in the world. I've been watching you this whole time. I've got eyes and ears everywhere, but we've taken 2 very different paths, but it's going to culminate at Forbidden Door. I've been holding up 2 worlds too, AEW and the entertainment world all by myself, but last year, Will versus Kenny Omega, of course, you didn't win by yourself. Are you going to do that this time? Or will you be on the phone with Don to try and take the title? And Will's like, is that what you think? You think I need Don Callis? I don't need him. I don't need the family. I can do this by myself. And of course, this is when we cut to the Don Callis family watching this backstage. And he said, well, Will, this is, why stop at Omega? After him, it was Kazuchika Okada, Shingo Takagi, Chris Jericho. While you had Hit Row, I had a hit list.
I mean, that wasn't the push of the button.
Oh my God.
Great line.
And what if the kill shot you've promised is just a few centimeters off? Are you that confident? And basically he says, I can finish you off with loads of moves. Stormbreaker, Oscar, or just cave your head in with the hidden
All the
blade.
positions.
Next one in, you're going to wake up without the title. You'll have to admit I'm on another level, but none of that pain could compare to the Tiger Driver. Swerve laughs at this, says, you keep saying if. I deal with certainties. This is your first pay-per-view main event, period, bruv. And as for this list, what about all your mates? You and Mercedes dancing on social media. I don't have any friends anymore. They're bodies, numbers. They're in the grave. They mean nothing to me. What if I break your leg at Forbidden Door, says Swerve? Who are you then? Or go for your arm? Will everyone still love you the same way? You could break my arm, my leg. You could shave me bald. And if I walk out this business, I'll still be Swerve Strickland. None of that changes. This business will consume you. Look what it did to me, says Swerve. You got to sacrifice that much to be who I am. You don't get that. You're going to have to sacrifice the love of your wife and your children. You're not ready to do that. And Ospreay cuts him off at this point and says, don't mention my son again. Don't make this personal. And Prince Nana cuts in between them and says, this is neither the place or the time. Save the fire. Save everything you've got. Swerve versus Ospreay. Forbidden Door. He points at the big sign. Everyone pops. Nana says, whose house? And before Swerve can say it, Ospreay says, my house. His music plays, and you think that's the end of the segment. And Ospreay goes to leave, and Swerve says, turn that music off. He says, Will, what if I want to make things personal? Because when it comes to this world title, it's always personal. So when you go home, send my regards to Al and Harry again. And this fires up Ospreay, flies back into the ring. They go forehead to forehead, and effing and jeffing between the two of them. Trash talking, very nearly come to blows. It's got personal.
I actually had more than one problem with this promo exchange, and yet it doesn't matter because listen to how goddamn hot this was. There's a lot of little things you have to do in a wrestling segment, but there's one primary objective, and the primary objective is heat up this goddamn match so people will want to pay to see it. They've absolutely smashed it. This was quite incredible on a performance and delivery level. Some of the problems I have, ultimately trivial logic things that some dickhead like me will point out and actually care about. Most people won't, and I'll caveat my analysis with that straight off the bat. And there's a deeper problem with it as well, but I still don't know how much that matters, at least because of that. I'll get into it.
I think I have the same problem, and I think it really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't tell if it does or not.
Yeah.
But let's talk about it. One, there was a few things that Swerve said, and I love Swerve Strickland. I've grown to really, over the past month, think, he's the guy. He's the guy for now, at least. Absolutely not a glorified upper mid-carder. Belt's not making the man here. I think he's
not
great.
Not a placeholder either for that title.
No. They've really done a great job of eradicating those doubts, and it's not the belt making the man. He's a great, great star, great champion. Great. Really great. He's really great.
Tony said excellent with regards to the UK show, so
good.
He's learning.
A couple of things. One,
somebody got a thesaurus.
Swerve with Prince Nana there, and he could say he's one of his associates.
Yeah, I got this, yeah.
Swerve says, I've got no friends. Last week, when Will Ospreay, much like The Rock on the Raw after WrestleMania, went, oh, Swerve, can I have a hold of that belt? And then he took the belt off him. Yeah. Then this incensed Swerve who said, you're lucky I like you. So you got no friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a tiny little logic gap, right? A second little logic gap is that Swerve Strickland, two more little logic gaps. Swerve Strickland said, Don Callis has won you your big matches. Nana's standing right there. Brian Cage was at the exact same time at Wembley at Forbidden Door when Swerve Strickland... when Will Ospreay was relying on Don Callis' help to defeat Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland was a full heel.
Yeah.
And AEW's usually really quite careful. Sometimes they adhere to their own continuity far too much, especially with this Callis Ospreay thing.
First page win at Wrestle Dream. That was
he was a heel. That was well after Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Well after Forbidden Door. And yes, I get it. He's done it by himself since. But that leads me to the next little pedantic logic thing, where it goes, you haven't even headlined one pay-per-view. It's like, Swerve, you've headlined one pay-per-view. You know what I mean? I think there was a few unnecessary beats they were trying to add to this story. It's like, no, you found the path. That personal thing was great. Just go down that path and don't mention these. I just felt like there was some fat to this promo, which it didn't really need. But bring me to my next point, the main one. Just emotion supersedes everything. Emotion in wrestling supersedes logic every single time. and I know I'm not the right person to say that because I'm a little dickhead, but it's no less true. I loved so much the detail, right, and I think this powered the moment so much that emotion might trump the logic, which I'll let you take on, about the unpredictability of it all, or lack thereof now. The little bit where they go for the formal rhythms of TV and they disrupt them and subvert them to great dramatic effect, where the music plays and then Swerve goes, "No, I'm not finished yet." Just because the music plays doesn't mean that you are then programmed like a robotic character to go, all right, that's the end, I can't say anything now, it's bloody music's played. And a really good point to make as well. And in fact, I had another thing that I was going to sell this pay-per-view, but now the music's playing, so that's wrestling. Can't do it. I love it. I was like, no, shut that off. And then they get personal. The performances here were fantastic, by the way. But how hot that felt in the building will sell the pay-per-view. But if you pay attention to the narrative pamphlet.
Yeah, I thought this was exceptionally well delivered bad promotion. Like, honestly, right? This is I get the intent of having Swerve even acknowledge some of those whispers, which as Sidgwick points out are now kind of weeks out of date. The whispers that, like, you're not Ospreay, mate. Like, Ospreay's arrived. You've won the title at the worst time because the best wrestler in the world's, like, just made you a paper champion. Those whispers have died down, but I understand why he would want to say, just to square this off, arsehole. Like, I heard it, and I'm going to prove it, right? Great. Absolutely great. It's why the match exists. It's why we're all super excited about the match, because it's like, wow, they're showing some real guts here. They're acknowledging what people think, and they're doing it right friggin' now. It does away with the predictability of the Wembley potential problem. So I couldn't have put this booking over any more that they were just doing it. And it also goes, like, it deals with a years-long problem of, get to Punk Cody. Get to. They didn't get to any of them. And, like, nope, we're getting to all of them with Ospreay. Bang, 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 bang. He's won that Battle Royal. Are you kidding? Right now. Yeah. Look, couldn't have loved it more. In one night, they might have just exploded it. Like, in one night, they might have just blown it up. Because I couldn't have come away from this more confident that Swerve was going to win, which I actually think is a huge problem. Like, nobody was questioning the quality of the perspective quality of the match. Nobody was questioning that if Swerve was to win, it wouldn't feel like they're just delaying the inevitable. It was to, wow, where does this go now? What does Will Ospreay do when everything we thought has suddenly been cast asunder and he's got to find a new way to find his path in AEW because he had a shot and he lost? Now I'm already thinking, all right, so he's in feud of the Don Callis family, Swerve's going to win. Like, I think there was a really great detail inserted in this that I would like to see play into the match. We have been putting over in recent weeks that Swerve has been developing every single aspect of his game in order to show himself to be not just the Swerve that rose to the top, but the Swerve that now lives there and won't let anybody take his spot. And I think there was something folded in here. I would like to see, we've been talking about, like, the Swerve stomp is not just the way he's putting people over, and there's a slight upper mid-card flavour to that rather than these other ways that he can beat people. I would like to see something now, such as Will Ospreay's sat, it's that kind of unnatural, he's going for the Swerve stomp, and we've already talked about, like, Ospreay saying, I got loads of ways to win. Like, I don't need to worry about how I'm going to beat you in the match. You might have your one sort of way. And there's, like, a Rick Rude type thing where he pulls down the knee pads and there's, like, pictures of the kids' faces on or something like that. And, like, Will Ospreay's just incensed in that moment, and you think Swerve's miscalculated, but he was never going to beat him with a Swerve stomp. He's got some other finisher in the background that we don't know about, and the pictures of the kids has sent Billy Brexit's head west, and that's it. Like, he goes pig thick, and he loses it because of the pictures of the kids, or the names, something like that, Off? Yeah. You f***ing what, brother? I won't f***ing think I told you. Like, that's that line he shouldn't have crossed, but Swerve knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah. He's got some devastating new thing that he just drills him with. Ospreay's head's gone and his neck's broken because I'm pretty sure he's beaten.
Tiger drive?
Yeah, perfect. Swerve wins, and you're just like, wow, yeah, that's a really cool story. I didn't want to think that. I wanted to think, who's winning the belt? Who is winning the belt? This is bold. This is, like, absolute sort of cards on the table booking from AEW, and I feel like that got lost over the course of one promo.
They've signposted Callis stuff as a way to get Ospreay out of the match.
I could be an idiot podcaster that's bang wrong and they just go with Ospreay at the pay-per-view. But right now it feels like the biggest and best thing about this match has been ripped away over the course of one promo, which was who's going to win the title.
It's one of those where, how does it balance out? Because you've ripped away that bold, unpredictable nature, but then you've heated it up on a personal level.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the way... Either way, it's kind of
and we could be wrong.
You
Maybe they strap Ospreay up and it's all a red herring.
You possibly could have done both. And again, we're going to do the hands up. We just don't know. We just don't know. But it certainly felt that way to not just you and me, but to others as well. I think I had one more thing to say, but it's... I don't know whether, right, you as a... Yo, cho... I don't know whether you meant to think, like, as a member of the audience taking in the story, is there a risk of Ospreay, who's been told by Swerve Strickland, you don't have it in you to do that kill shot? And you kind of were in this thing, right? You don't have it in you, right? You are too soft, ultimately. You're too weak. You have got too many ties to your family. You've grown up and matured at the cost of your professional career. You've discovered like a love in your heart, like a sense of maturity, a sense of like loyalty and obligation to family. And now it's crept into your work, this new reborn Will Ospreay. And, you know, you're taking pity on your opponents now. Like, that's not what makes a champion. You're too soft now. With the idea being, like, no, I will do that. I will be an arsehole, and I will hit you with a Tiger Driver at the urging of Don Callis, and I will win, but at what cost? And turn heel.
Could be that.
That could be a story, right? And I don't think that's a terrible one at all. The Wembley problem is I don't believe that is a story beat, because he's going to wrestle at Wembley, and it would be promotional malpractice if he turns up as a heel at that pay-per-view. It would probably, given how hot Ospreay is, be promotional malpractice if there's no Wembley show this year and he turns heel just anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm going to I'm going to pay attention to the story and try and see where that takes me, because Swerve's basically hinted through the actual verbiage told in this chapter of the story, Ospreay might, in spite of that moral compass, he might just try and get the job done, whatever it costs. And you know, it's AEW, like, it's fluid. It's Tweeter City sometimes. I'm not that bothered, even though I probably should be.
Just one thing as well to add. In defense of AEW here, right? So I'm now sitting with this in my head for the rest of the show. Swerve's winning. That's something I was looking forward to not really being able to figure out, and now I feel like I figured it out, and I could be wrong. But I'm thinking Swerve's winning. And then as the show goes on, a booking development that I really, really love, and we'll get to it, only strengthens my belief that Swerve will win.
Yes.
And that's not their fault. Like, I should reward them for the thing I potentially love, but instead what it's done is solidified this idea I already had. And this is what I'm saying. I'm thinking, I think in a couple of different ways they've maybe just accepted Forbidden Door as a bit of a dead rubber. But for a change, we were complaining this time last year, why aren't you making Wembley feel important? This feels like a total reverse of that, and good.
But, Michael Hamflet.
Yes.
I know you like the Fed.
I love it.
Don't be a goldfish. Because if you remember, one or 2 weeks ago, they've already done something similar to establish you might actually get MJF versus Swerve.
Yeah.
This week it might be MJF Ospreay. They are throwing little red herrings or Easter eggs. It depends how you interpret either. They'll get to both matches eventually.
It's fixing the universe too. It's fixing the universe. Like, we needed to get away from that. AEW had that real, like, I was going to say 2021, why pick a year? 20 years of WWE thing of like, you can't be involved in the second thing. The second story. Like, a wrestler had one thing, one job, one story, and they'd fallen into that trap. This, for weeks now, this idea that who MJF's name checking, who Swerve is not showing deference to. Like, Swerve can have a problem.
And the Elite as well.
Yeah, the Elite and MJF at the same time. But the Elite don't like MJF. But, like, this is how it should be. This is how it should be. This is why we can speculate.
Spiderwebs, man.
Blood and Guts is coming. I don't even care. But, like, right now, you could put Hangman Page on either team.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Just don't be a goldfish. I don't know what I'm in a fucking Holland top. What more do you want?
A goldfish?
I should mention, Don Callis, immediately after this segment, was backstage with the family. Trent Beretta says, Ospreay's just disrespected the family. No one does that. And Callis says, don't worry, be fine. I know him better than his own mother. And he leaves, and Carl Fletcher looks very concerned by all of this.
Most people have said it now. This Don Callis stuff has felt like an inconvenience. Still does, but Kyle Fletcher being left with the choice is interesting. And I'll end the sentence there. I don't know if it gets great, but it's interesting.
Is family going to cost Ospreay? Could mean two different types of family. So.
Right?
Cinema.
Shut up, man. If I never hear that word again, I'll be happy.
What came next was that 8-man, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly.
Remember him?
Oh my God.
Orange Cassidy and Dante Martin versus Roddy Strong.
Never even thought that. Him and Orange Cassidy should have done Spider-Man meme. He should have done Cool Carl 1 week.
He probably regrets that period
I would do if I was
his career to a quite profound extent.
We all regret.
Yeah. Roddy Strong, Konosuke Takeshita, Cole Fletcher, and great to see him back. ZSJ. It starts off.
So great.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Zack Sabre Jr. is that wrestler that's like amazing, mate. Yeah. Every single time.
I like watching Zack Sabre Jr. Like, this was brilliant, obviously, but in those singles matches, I want to see how long you can go without taking a single bump and me think this is the match of the year. Yeah. He's a genius.
Yeah,
but I also want him to have a microphone. I love ZSJ promos.
Yeah, especially around this time of year.
Move.
Yeah, so
I used to like his promos on Twitter, but he forgot his password.
Yeah, he did. Sadly.
So they all, well, not all of them actually. 6 of them brawl to start with, leaving ZSJ and Orange Cassidy. Cassidy's still getting ready for the match. ZSJ allows him.
ZSJ.
Zack Sabre Jr. He's not an Arsenal fan.
But before they can get into it, Cole Fletcher.
Actually, I don't know. He's from London. He supports.
Might not even like football.
He might not like football.
Yeah. Imagine that.
I like football.
A bit.
This is the problem. I like it. I just like it.
Yeah.
Now. So when he used to say there's no such thing as a good Young Bucks match, and now that's kind of like nearly all they have. That's it. Football is
I would argue deeper in the night to the contrary, but we'll see.
You saying the power's back?
I'm saying the Young Bucks power's back.
So Fletcher and Briscoe get involved before those two can get into it. Fletcher takes Briscoe out with a suicide dive. There's a O'Reilly knee bar on Strong. ZSJ puts Cassidy in an octopus next to him. And Briscoe hits a step-up flip dive onto Cole Fletcher. And Dante Martin does a big springboard flip dive onto everybody. Takes to a break. We come back.
During the break was incredible, by the way. It was just ZSJ and Kyle O'Reilly doing some cool, amazing stuff on the mat.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the very best version of let's just slow it down. Just put them in there for 2 minutes.
Good idea, yeah.
I thought it was the match.
Yeah.
And then they did the zoom in. I was like, this is the best match of all time.
So you're watching it thinking like, what a really great match this is. And then, wait a minute, did Taz just call Tony Schiavone? We must be in the ad breaks.
Yeah.
There was an allusion to...
Call the match, dude. Yeah, that's become an in-joke of theirs.
Oh, okay, right.
Dude. ZSJ and Orange Cassidy back and forth. Sabre almost gets a near fall, puts a cravat on. Takeshita gets a blind tag and just twats Orange Cassidy as hard as he can. I love that guy.
Takeshita going to make you watch some of the G1? Because I want to watch his matches. Yeah.
Remember the G1?
It's made me sort of remember the G1
entire podcast.
Remember the 2010s G1s? Oh my God.
Once a day, I'm going to have to find a window to watch the Takeshita match. It's made me feel a little something for the routine of it. Yeah.
He's in the wrong block.
Yes, yeah. But it means I think might make that knockout stage.
Hopefully.
Or they proper it's an AEW apology thing. It's like, we've kind of beaten all you guys, you can have one and he can get 0 points. I mean, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dante's flying all over the place. Fletcher takes a bullet for Takeshita. But then Fletcher and Takeshita team up to hit a huge avalanche powerbomb out of the corner.
He looked like he's broken his back.
I was like, they went to break, and I was like, "Where are you going?"
I was like,
finished.
I was like, "Are you okay?"
Hot tag to Mark Briscoe.
If you haven't seen this,
it's
like the last ride, but just knocking his head on one of the rafters, and bang, down you go.
The bit when it twice because he's hit, and his neck's got that. Why are we going to break? The match is over. But yes, hot tag to Mark Briscoe. Hits a rolling DVD on Takeshita. Froggy Bow. They all hit top rope moves then. O'Reilly top rope knee. Martin splash. Cassidy with just fall off thing with the thumbs up. That gets a 2 count. Cassidy wants an orange punch, but ZSJ grabs his leg and Takeshita kicks his head off basically. All breaks down. Everyone flying all over the place. Takeshita eats a Stun Dog Millionaire. Dive from Martin. Takes out everyone, including the Kingdom. Briscoe hit a blockbuster from the apron. Orange Cassidy and ZSJ counter each other. Sabre almost got a pin off the European clutch. And then O'Reilly and Cassidy hit a total elimination on Cole Fletcher. O'Reilly shoves Cassidy out the way and eats Strong's running knee. But then as a result of that, Orange Cassidy hits Roddy Strong with the orange punch and gets the 1-2-3. Post-match, Dante Martin's walking up the ramp and Jack Perry just attacks him. Mark Briscoe chases him off. Takeshita gets into it with him. They're all in the ladder match, of course. Big brawl. And there's a nice face-off between ZSJ and Orange Cassidy to close this out.
Not only was this an absolutely incredible match yet again, not only did it deftly dovetail and allow various wrestlers and various plots and subplots and histories in the case of Strong and Cassidy to pick up those threads, to thread new ones. Like, but that post-match angle, it's like, that's the best multi-man build I can remember, because they're all terrible. Oh, they're having a ladder match at the pay-per-view. Some ladders have magically materialized, and everyone involved in the match is having a brawl somehow.
Turns out I never noticed this. 3 baby faces and 3 heels.
Yes.
Should probably have a 6-man or trios.
You know what? That's quite lucky. We get the balance right. This is just, it made that. It's like, oh, Christ, this is really cool. This is really goddamn cool.
Sorry. Nothing.
You just saw a spoiler?
I think so.
Yeah, you
as far as I'm aware, there's 4 people confirmed.
There was a Rampage qualifier, I think. Yep.
Saying nothing.
It's Wilborn though. I really want to tell everyone.
This was so goddamn great.
I don't want to spoil who it is, but let me tell you something, brother.
This is great. Shut up. You take one of the TV matches of the year and you add Zack Sabre Jr. to it, and it just becomes even more goated. I thought Dante Martin had a great night here as well. Looked like he totally belonged in there. His stuff was incredibly exciting. It was threaded together brilliantly. But man, Zack Sabre Jr. Is there any more like where I just don't watch a wrestler for a while and I'm just reminded of how great they are? It's that genre of wrestler for me. It's Zack Sabre Jr. and Leo Rush. You're just so amazing at what you do, and you should be on. Like, I know Zack Sabre Jr. is very boldly trying to be the guy in New Japan, be the next Ospreay White, Jay White guy, and just hold down the fort there. And he just loves it there. But my God, he's got, as you say, the promo skills. He's got the ability. He's one of the best wrestlers of all time. And you see him in this match, and like just everything you do just looks amazing. You do this like like twists in a match. Like the Young Bucks are great at twists, like where the momentum shifts, and oh my God, you just almost lost. Now you've almost won, and all the rest of it. Like Zack Sabre Jr. has got the best like twist per second ratio in wrestling history. He's unbelievable. He was just basically take my thoughts on last week's match, add that praise of Zack Sabre Jr., and you have my almost complete thoughts on it. Like there's a certain genre of AEW match where, because it's not like, I don't know, Ospreay Danielson, and there's that tier like Revolution 2020 or whatever, or Anarchy in the Arena 1, where there's like this sub-tier of like, remember that? It was incredible. This is absolutely, in a year's time, you're going to go, remember those matches? They were incredible. This is like the Dante Rush, Leo Martin, Seidel Moriarty, where it's like, remember that? That was incredible. Like this is, in a 6 months' time, or a year's time, this magic will pop into your head. This like TV perfection of matchmaking in action and storytelling will pop in your head and you think, God damn, that was good. Future nostalgia.
Zack Sabre Jr. makes me want to like watch another one of those. This is how we actually do it, kid, because we kind of know things. So you know, most people probably watching this, educated fan base, will know sort of things like the double squeeze, meaning, I don't know, give me a left arm. Those things, those codes. And that's how Zack does his stuff, but then makes somebody else look great, and it's a dance. But is there like is there a chess match? This is like, what I'm actually going to do is the triple squeeze, because I don't want you to give me left arm, and then in 6 seconds, give me your right leg. Like there, because the transitions are so quick.
It's unbelievable.
Obviously they're working 2 ahead, 3 ahead, 4 ahead. It's an artful.
It's unbelievable. You asked that question. It might have been answered because we obviously have never worked in the ring a day in our lives, never taken a bump or whatever. I remember, and this almost applies to every single ZSJ match, but obviously one of the very best was Wrestle Dream against Bryan Danielson. My match of last year was unbelievable. Brian Alvarez, I listened to the Observer Radio afterwards, so I want to get his thoughts on it and Meltzer's and all the rest of it. And he was like, I've got no idea how much this was just jazz.
And
and it's like, you've got two guys of this caliber where they are so good. They could probably just say, we'll feel it in there, see what we can do, and you still get this unbelievably well-plotted and crafted match out of it.
Technicians Flair Steamboat.
But just like, they're just doing it.
Yeah.
And like, even Alvarez was like, I don't know. It looked like jazz to me. It just
and
looked like...
he's got the worker's eyes to be able to spot the little things.
Yeah,
and
kind of that we don't. He was like, I think it was just jazz.
That's brilliant. The one thing I would, if like, this is fantasy booking, it's not going to happen, I don't think. But like, last week, trios match, amazing. All the joy. This week, 8-man, even more joy. Like, timing looks quite nice. Next week, 5-on-5, MJF and Hechicero. And MJF is the latest background figure in the Mark Briscoe. Like, watching MJF react to Mark Briscoe's third promo and another one of these and another Forbidden Door build, and it's like, just keep, like, you don't need to keep going because the pay-per-view's on the Sunday.
Yeah.
I would love that as a, like, this, like, the build you will remember is like, not of the individual, like, matches that this came to, but remember when they just use, like, massive increasing tag matches that got better and better and better and more daft and goated? Like, I would, again, it would just feel like, it would give that pay-per-view, like, build a sense of spark. To be like, there wasn't no build, it was just a kind of weird build that I really enjoyed through giant matches.
Yeah, do 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Nice video package for Mercedes.
Money.
Stephanie
We're going to
Vaquer.
get taken off YouTube for that one. Like, all right. They're dangerous guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Then the cameras are with Roosh backstage. Don Callis puts his hand on his shoulder and says something in Spanish and walks off. Roosh is upset.
I wonder where that could be going.
I know. Look, it's a destination. I mean, Trent hasn't wrestled yet. He's just there, and it's like, well, it's a bad guy and his career's going places. Is it? He doesn't really have a career anymore.
About Orange Cassidy. He was class. You made the wrong call, Don.
I mean, there's a flaw here. Like, there's been a trios match and an 8-man, and we've just showered it with praise involving members of the Don Callis family. I'll get Trent in there. It's only Trent. He's just joined. You should probably do something with him.
Yeah.
He's the most blended in guy ever already is Trent Beretta.
It was for a setup all along that had instant buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
We got him. I don't want him.
Put ZSJ in this match now, Trent. Set this one out. He can go on the bench. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know it's contrived because he's wrestling Orange Cassidy, but still.
Callis did it to get Orange Cassidy, at which point his feud with Orange Cassidy ended and he was stuck with the byproduct in Trent.
One of the most illogical characters in all of wrestling is Don Callis.
Yeah.
I'm going to...
Goes to Jericho, goes to Guevara.
I'm going to recruit Jericho. I don't think he'd say yes. Why did you bother then?
Aye.
Moving along, it was the tag title eliminator. The Young Bucks against the Acclaimed. No rap from Max Caster this week. His mic got immediately cut off. And Kazuchika Okada is seen backstage fake crying, saying he's sorry for pressing the wrong button, bitch.
I love him so much. Joy. I cannot put over the joy that man just injects into my heart. It's true.
Yeah.
I watch, I laugh and I smile. It's just pure joy. It's like a drug.
Living his best life, innit? Payday for that. Just saying bitch as well. A huge bap.
It's a great feeling, right? Because they're doing all of
joy
this.
is great, isn't it? That's so rare.
A couple of times a week. 3, actually. But like, it's so great what they have with Okada right now. This is fantastic. We are loving watching this every single week. It's not really had to be Kazuchika Okada yet. Like,
it could be
at some point, the best wrestler in the world's rocking up. Maybe in a year's time when
he's got his eliminator, hasn't he? Is that on? Did they say they announced
on Collision? Do you know what it is?
No.
Let's see the match graphic for this on Collision.
He just snuck it in right at the end of the show, didn't they?
Like,
yeah, it's Kazuchika Okada versus Ultimo Guerrero.
Excuse me?
On Collision this week.
They just,
all right.
I was like...
Tonight, it's happening tonight.
They've just flashed you up at the bottom. Like, they were like...
Weird, isn't it? It's weird. It's weird.
It's weird.
Join us next week, and don't forget this on Collision. Oh, by the way, this is... and I was like, what was that? It's just like, oh, okay.
That's funny.
It's great.
That's funny.
So the Bucks attack before the bell, but Caster and Bowens take over. No daddy ass, no people allowed obviously at ringside for this. But Bowens has got that taped up hamstring, which they target. I think it was Matthew Jackson drop kicked it, and they take over as a result. But Bowens makes the hot tag when we come back. Leg goes out after a famouser though, and Matthew Jackson hits him with a super kick to get a 2 count. There's a draping senton off the top as he's hung in the ropes. Caster makes the save, though, and Bowens blocks the EVP trigger, makes a comeback. But again, the Bucks kick the leg out of his leg with super kicks. Pump up their shoes, super kick party. Caster again saves, gets thrown to the outside. Bowens gets out the TK driver, but Matt takes the ref and does the old mule kick low blow. They hit the EVP trigger, but again, Max Caster breaks it up, so he gets dumped into the front row. The Bucks hit, what, did they steal Motor City Machine Gun's finisher?
Made in Detroit.
Bowens kicks out.
Mark Lee Willis also spotted this on Twitter.
Feeling like Wembley, that, innit?
Very loyal and awesome listener.
Yeah.
So, Bowens kicks out of that. They try to use a title belt. The ref takes it, but in amongst all this, so Matthew, I think, was trying to try and hit the belt shot. He's got the ref, so this time Nicholas tries to twat him with the belt, but accidentally nails his brother. They hit the arrival, mic drop, 1, 2, 3. He claimed to got themselves a title shot.
Didn't think I'd be pressing this button. If you listened to the preview yesterday, I was like, Young Bucks from the Gentleman's 3 era, and I'm bored of the Acclaimed, who are more fun than ever. They were good, and I'm bored of them. Nevertheless.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought this was
teachable moments.
I thought this was great. I thought this was genuinely great, and I really, really had a lot of time for it, and I thought it was inspired in one particular way. The first thing I want to mention, and it might seem to you to be trivial, it isn't. I think I'm going to I think I'm going to give Michael Hamflett a hard on here, quite frankly.
Where's this going?
Is attire the most important thing in professional wrestling?
Yes. Joint with entrances and muscles.
I'm being a bit facetious, right? At the same time, I'm not. I made the point, right? I think I was reviewing Revolution 2020 for WhatCulture.com, and I said, Cody coming out with that neck tattoo without preparing you for it was so distracting.
I wanted to reach the screen and rub it off. Oh, why has he cut his neck?
She's like, oh, there's a match happening. What's on your neck?
Cody, bird on your neck, Cody.
Now, not only is it just the most there thing in the world, the most normal thing in the world, right? But he's the biggest star in wrestling. And honestly, if you look at the numbers and the context and the fact that he doesn't have a contrarian audience, he could be bigger than John Cena. Not for as long, but it's like the Hogan-Austin thing.
Yeah.
Where Austin was a bigger star for a short amount of time than Hogan ever was, but Hogan's got the longevity.
It's like score draw sort of thing, isn't it?
Yes, it's a score draw with Cena because he's probably bigger than Cena was and he's more universally liked. These insane numbers that he's pulling as top babyface. But anyway, he had that neck tattoo, and I compared that to what if WrestleMania 14, Steve Austin makes his entrance, and it's like there are triple the amount of people watching from the year before, if not quadruple, because he's just a massive star and it's boomed. What if he comes out in like luminous yellow trunks? It's like, what? It just wouldn't be the same. That's literally just one color of a fabric away from changing literally everything, right? From success to failure. The Young Bucks wearing those outfits, I said it all along. Yes, it didn't really matter in the pay-per-view matches because the amount of shortcuts and drama and weapons and glass and sick ladder spots and fire. They wore colorful Young Bucks gear that made them look more like the Young Bucks. This is their best TV match of the year. I honestly think there's a correlation here. I genuinely do. Like I was pointed out to me, I forget by whom on Twitter, I apologize, that all along Nick Jackson was in fact wearing just very, very, very black Reebok trainers. They still look like the school shoes I wore in 1998. The ugliest big clumps on your feet. Like, it didn't look like a dynamic member of the Young Bucks, especially in like the suit adjacent gear. It looked so shindy. I've never liked it.
Into Windsors.
Yes.
Now they've got their very Technicolor Reeboks, and now the same pattern is on their gear.
Yeah.
Never go back to the attire you were wearing because you looked more like a Young Buck in this match visually and indeed in terms of the action and how it unfolded. It's not one of their best TV matches, this. I'm not saying it was 2021 vintage Young Bucks, but my God, what a genius idea. Right. I don't like the Acclaimed. A lot of people kind of don't, or at least they don't love them as much as they
I was going
used
to say,
to.
as much as you did.
Yeah. I would happily tomorrow read a report saying, AEW is disbanding the Acclaimed and they're going for the Anthony Bones singles push, right? What they did in this match was just make you like the Acclaimed again.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Bowens is one of the most lovable guys in wrestling, a great sympathetic babyface, a great House of Fire babyface, a really great and necessary person to have in the sport. And they wrapped his thigh in a bandage and tried to kill him. And then his selling was unbelievable. When he tried to plant the leg for the thrust kick, it was like, you had that agonizing thing. And in signature Young Buck style, this match unfolds and you're thinking, all right, okay, it's getting good. This is getting good. You found the perfect dramatic device, the perfect pivot around which to balance all of this. And then you get that Motor City Machine Guns tease. And then Bowens kicks out and you think, you've got the near fall, the Young Bucks near fall. And then you get that second one, which there's always that one where you think it's one too many because they play with the rhythms of how your mind perceives the pro wrestling near fall. And then they just go, because we're the Young Bucks, we can go another gear. We're them. I thought this was a great, great TV match that is somehow contrived to make me like the Acclaimed a little bit more, which is that's genius.
Proofs in the pudding, dark arts, all that sort of stuff. This wasn't star making in the sense that the Acclaimed are already stars, and they weren't just going over; they were getting back over. That's really hard. If you were over, and they've not changed in any way, but if you were over and then you're not over, it almost never swings back the other way for you in the same gimmick. That's why everybody says, right, now's the time to get beat, now's the time to do that, because you're going to change, you're going to do whatever. This was not that. This was the Acclaimed just being the Acclaimed. You could have put this match back in 2022 when the Acclaimed were really starting to get hot, and it was like that again for them. Whether or not this lasts, we don't know, but the Young Bucks did everything in their power here. We were sort of dreading the prospect of the Acclaimed being in blood and guts, and this was the Young Bucks.
I'll take Bowens with this injury in blood and guts. It's almost bad if he isn't now.
It's the Acclaim, the Elite being good wrestler EVPs again, they have to win, or they have to sort of at least be perceived as winners, even if they lost here. But the idea is to try and make a bunch of stars. This felt like we've allowed the stars to dim, and we're going to try and make them shine bright again. It was a really, really strong performance by the Bucks. I love this. I think you picked up on it in the promos a few weeks ago, Sitch. I absolutely love this. There are two kinds of boss. The one that wants to be a friend and the one that's just an outright psycho piece of shit. And the Nick Jackson facials when they kept interrupting the pins and Matt trying to keep it calm. Yeah. But that chemistry they've got, they did it when they were walking on the ramp with the blood and guts. It was now, Matthew's doing this sort of, now we want to have the big match, but we keep being injured. Nick's sort of already getting fired up. Yeah, they keep bringing that out of action. I love that contrast that then plays out in the matches too. He's awful.
He's class.
Good stuff. End to end, just all the way around entertaining with a big purpose.
A triumph.
Yeah,
a triumph, quite frankly. I imagine a lot of people, we talked about this yesterday on the preview. I won't labor on it too long, but my God, they're obviously still selling merchandise. Chris Jericho has those quarter-hour numbers relative.
Yeah,
we're not being so contrarian to say no one likes the Acclaimed. People do, but they're not as hot.
No.
They felt Anthony Bowens at least felt hotter than he has in well over a year last night on Dynamite.
It's not the lazy take to say they needed to be back in tags and not trios, because the trios existed for Billy Gunn. Yeah. The tags exist for these.
He wasn't out there suddenly. We're running short of time, so I'll just say they set up a six-man for Collision. Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata taking on the Premier Athletes. Shibata described them as goofy bitches. Then it was the contract signing, the love triangle contract signing, I suppose. Timeless Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa, hosted by Mariah May. She brings both of them out and says, no matter what happens, she loves both of them. Shirakawa cuts her off, though, and says, shut up. In Stardom, Toni Storm, you were a gem. In AEW, you became a star. But as women's champion, you've gone soft. You're weak. Everybody says, we want Mina. I'm going to take your title, and I'm going to take your girl. And she signs the contract. Storm said she'll slap Shirakawa's tits off if she raises her voice to Mariah May ever again. You want me, she says. Well, this buffet is wide open. Grab a bowl and line up. Chin up, tits out.
Morgan, though, Hamlet, so...
Chin up, tits out, watch for the shoe. She signs the contract.
Yeah, our truth was sex stuff.
Mariah May says it's official.
You love our truth, motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying. You love Toni Storm, so I guess we've all got our vices. We've all got our
vices.
Shirakawa says, no, you have to choose between us. But before she's forced to do that, out comes Saraya and Harley Cameron, saying they're so sick of them. And Saraya says, I didn't come alone, bitch. And Anta Jay pulls Shirakawa to the outside, attacks. May and Storm get laid out. They set up the table that was there in the corner. Do Holly Cameron and Anta Jay. Storm hits the ring, takes everyone out with a shoe. She's going to hit sweet chic music, but Anna Jay and Cameron pull Saraya to safety, and Storm just goes through the table. Meanwhile, Shirakawa and Mariah May are on the top of the ramp watching as the Outcasts celebrate.
I will say, I thought Mina Shirakawa was really good in the promo, and I know this is like the ultimate gentle bit of praise. Thank you, American audiences, for not screaming "what" between every sentence. Thank you. I thought she was really good here. Like, Jesus Christ, imagine cutting a promo in Japanese, in Japan. You know what I mean? Like, he just couldn't do it. I thought it was genuinely excellent. I thought delivery, the registering of it all was really quite good. I thought Toni Storm had a bit of an off night in terms of, she's usually much funnier than this, and I was expecting something really funny.
Hesitant almost.
Yeah, it just wasn't that funny. She's usually like got an absolute genuine belly laugh out of me, but not last night. You know what's funny? If you recall, the first time there was a bit of friction between Mariah May and Toni Storm, there was a moment when Anna Jay interfered in... Anna Jay had a match with Mina Shirakawa on a Dynamite at Daly's place, and now she's all been folded in. It's that week-to-week thing that I talk about when they say, Tony Khan makes it up as he goes along. No, like a tapestry has been sort of knitted here from that Dynamite to this moment, and then it's going to go on after the fact. It's a bit spreadsheety, a bit like this character, this character, this character, this character. I honestly forgot about that Anna Jay thing, so it can't be that effective, realistically. But...
And it's for the Owen. It's like calling back and like thinking forward into the Owen.
And there's probably going to be a trios match involving these 6 wrestlers, and it's going to play into who is Mariah May going to tag in. There's a great deal of thought put behind this, a great deal of thought. The experience was just meh.
So I didn't like the Toni Storm element of it. Like, I'm a bit tired of that character. I thought it was a great segment. I thought
it was really well booked.
Super effective segment. Proper heat on Toni Storm when they're like, it's that WWE nonsense I like. The proper heat of, oi, thickos, do you get it? She's alone in the ring having tried to make the save with a table crumple on her. Where's the woman she tried to save? She's up at the top of the ramp with her. Do you get it, thickos? I do get it, and I like it. Like, I'm really...
It's being earnest, by the way.
Yeah.
You are being earnest.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm massively invested in this story that I think has been well told from the day Mariah May turned up. Like, title shots and 3-week runs don't matter and do not compare with actually trying to tell stories and help you understand who characters actually are. This was a failing of this women's division for years. You have understood who these characters are from the very beginning, and now you're actually getting the benefit of it because you've invested in it from the very beginning. Like, Mina Shirakawa is like new to this, but ultimately you also know that she's an ingredient rather than the central focus of this big thing. You get segments like this because you're invested in all the characters. I did like the Anna Jay being somebody that was loosely tied to this. I quite like the way in which Saraya and Harley Cameron aren't just added extras. They've been part of this for weeks. You know, like Harley Cameron was working the singles matches. That's kind of raising Saraya's ire a little bit. She wants to win the Owen because the prize is getting back to Wembley and getting to win that women's title. This has been Wembley, this has been really, really well thought through. Folding in a number of different elements. The women's division is great. AEW's 2024 women's division is the story of the year for the company, I think, because this wasn't just about belts, it was about personal conflicts that will ultimately lead to belts, and that's wrestling.
We get a video package on the Owen Hart brackets. It's Claudio versus Pac in the main event tonight. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi, which will go down at Forbidden Door, as we found out later.
Or them two in the 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Either of them would be good.
Jay White versus Ray Phoenix and Jeff Jarrett versus a wild card. No time to talk about this now, unfortunately, but we are doing a Q&A, me and Sidge, tomorrow because, Collision is going to be spoiled because it's taped tonight. So instead of that, we'll review Collision, of course, on Monday. But tomorrow, at WhatCulture WB on X, I'll send out a tweet later on today asking for your questions, but we'll tackle the wild card question on there as well.
So ask it, otherwise we won't.
Yeah.
That's my favourite bit on the show.
Apologies.
It's fine.
The women's bracket is Willow Nightingale versus Serena Deeb, Nyla Rose versus Kris Statlander, which we're about to get to, Deonna Purrazzo versus Hikaru Shida, and Mariah May versus Saraya, of course. Then it was the first match in the Owen Hart Cup women's division, Kris Statlander versus Nyla Rose, quarterfinals. Rose mowed down Statlander with a crossbody. It takes too long to follow up, and Statlander sends her out to the floor to take us to break. When we come back, big clothesline from Nyla Rose, cannonball, But Statlander escapes the beast bomb. It's a nice scissor kick and gets a 2 count. Goes up top but misses the 450. Rose hits a flying elbow for 2. And the finish was class. They fight in the corner. Statlander hits a charging boot and somehow gets Nyla Rose up. It's a great-looking tombstone pile driver for the 1-2-3. Post-match, Stokely Hathaway grabs a mic and says if Willow Nightingale ever puts her hands on him again, she'll be pop-locking in a jail cell just like Justin Timberlake. Willow appears on the big screen, congratulates Statlander on the win, but says, look, when I defeat Serena Deeb on Rampage, there'll be no more running in the second round. I'm going to whoop your ass and move one step closer to Wembley. See you Friday.
Yeah, one thing, it was awesome to see that Nyla Rose reaction. She was really over in that building, and I thought it was nice. The finish, as you mentioned, really, really well done. This is a bit sludgy in the first half of the match. It was, again, gobbled up by the commercial break. We are here every single week. The division can't be that great, I'm sorry, because this keeps happening over and over. And the whole point here really was to advance Statlander through the tournament, but you kind of want to establish this heel character because we haven't really seen her in the ring yet.
Yeah.
And then there was this one moment where she was meant to like cockily drape herself over Nyla Rose and do the put up the fingers and go 1, 2, 3, and the positioning was all wrong. The referee was like, you can't do it because Nyla Rose's legs are under the ropes, and it made her look like she was meant to look like a cocky idiot. It just made her look like an idiot who doesn't know where she was in the ring. But it doesn't really matter. Nyla Rose is pretty much forever over, I think, to a certain level, and Statlander's usually amazing. So this is just an essential. You could have skipped at the finish, and that happens all too often in this division.
I want to say a really nice thing about the finish, but these don't have great chemistry. I remember a match
we were
between
talking about Revolution.
Not so great. Was that when it was?
It was after.
Well, no, guess the sandwich.
What Revolution 2020, this match happened on pay-per-view. Statlander was battling for which didn't help, but which matches did it sit between on the card?
It must follow the tag.
Yeah, it was directly after, immediately after.
And it came before?
Jericho Moxley?
MJF versus Cody Rhodes.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
It was after the best goddamn tag team match you've ever seen. It was before the most anticipated AEW match of the year.
They were guilty of that a lot back then, weren't they? Yeah. They were really hanging them out to dry. The finish I love. It's an AEW trick that they don't use enough, but I used to love it in 2020. I think about Cody Rhodes doing this quite a lot. A wrestler inserts a new way to beat somebody so that you then think they've got this class move in their arsenal, but because like Nyla Rose is one of the bigger women in the division who's harder to beat with something like that old wrestler adage where it's like, you got to be able to hit your finisher on anyone. It's like, wow, Stat can do it on Nyla Rose, leads you to believe she can do it on Willow Nightingale. Mm-hmm. Perfect booking for that. But because it's been established as a new one, it's going to be sort of, she's going for it. But don't forget what Statlander can already do. Yeah. It's like Cody dropping in the figure 4 leg lock.
Yeah.
Like they used to do this with loads of wrestlers to get away from that idea of like finisher spam. Sort of killing.
I know this isn't the finish. My arms are folded because it's
exactly Like just add all those extra details in to make the match count on the night, and that Stat and Willow's the story. So I love that they've put that in here. It's good matchmaking for that purpose.
Yeah. But it was. I'm going to check my notes here. The only women's match on the card. My thanks to Michael Sidgwick who took care of the
data
for this. Adam Blair's having a wicked pisser, of course.
He's always
there was no official game this week.
He's always having a wicked pisser.
1 hour, 29 minutes, 44 seconds. He got very jealous of all of Adam Blair's updates in
all of his
Boston
life.
Now, but all over the States.
All of his life.
We go backstage. There's private party with Renee Paquette. They've got momentum from attacking Chris Jericho and Lyric Tree last week, and they're heading into the match on Rampage. And Quen says Jericho learned that private party ain't no joke. Here comes Chris Jericho. Hi, guys. Hey, you got the upper hand, guys, but you cheated to do so, didn't you? So, case or else, all right, am I right? He wants to give him a lesson. When you're facing luchadors, always avoid the pile driver, effectively, he says. Whenever someone tried to put that on him, he said, that doesn't work for me, brother. And leaves. And Big Bill says, what a first impression you made. But, hey, first impressions aren't always good. We're looking forward to our match with you on Saturday, and we'll be watching your match on Friday on Rampage. Brian Keith tells him to respect Chris Jericho. They all leave, and they say, respect Chris Jericho. He should respect the Ender. And Renee says, oh, who's that? And they go to say, the end of this... Whoa! Back to you guys, says Mark Quinn. What was going on there?
End of this stick, I don't know. This is really bad. And it was so short, and I was so happy.
Yeah. Speaking of short, at the same time, I'll just say Daniel Garcia beat Rhett Titus handily. Implant DDT gets the 1-2-3. It was all about the post-match because Daddy Magic was on commentary. He got attacked by the Gates of Agony, who, along with Hechicero, hit the ring and attacked Garcia. They hit that triple swinging power bomb. MJF runs in, tackles Hechicero, bites Brian Cage, begs off Leona and Khan, and then double low blows them. But he gets caught in the numbers game. Hechicero targets the arm. Will Ospreay runs out to make the save.
Don't know why.
Double handspring Pele kick. And then they do the bit where Ospreay and MJF bump into each other, face it off, holy chance. MJF leaves and Garcia stares at Ospreay's international title. Ospreay later on said, I didn't save MJF, I saved Daniel Garcia.
Yes, right, okay. So he said, so on the thin basis of Danny Garcia is trying to come for my title, but he's doing it in the respectful way. He's building up his wins. He's moving up the non-existent rankings, and he's not attacking me from behind or calling me out. He's just doing it the noble way. So I like the guy. I'll go out and help him. It's really to do this thing with MJF to tease a massive match, and Jesus Christ, the reaction was absolutely deafening. A bit contrived, but you know, you did something contrived to get to something incredibly promising and something a lot of people demonstrably really want.
I love it happening on this show as well. It's like MJF's already had his bit. And Ospreay's had it.
Yeah.
They're getting a second bit. I like that sort of format change.
It's your favourite thing in the world, isn't it?
Dynamite needs it. Like, I think these format changes just, like, shake you out. Like not awake because they're timing out, but, like, shake you out of that sort of foggy game where it's like, oh, but they've had their bit.
Arguably, people tuning out, if they go, well, I've seen the Ospreay.
I'm with campaigned for it.
No, I'm with you.
And Ospreay backstage, along with saying, I didn't save MJF, I saved Daniel Garcia, called Brian Cage a wanker, and he's got an international title match on Collision. Actually, we're not going to do a Collision preview. Who do you reckon wins that one?
I don't think you can look past Ospreay.
Main event time. Owen Hart Cup. Claudio versus Pac. Fast start from Pac. Knocks him out to the floor, but he gets...
I'm trying to think of like synonym ways of saying it. Being a dickhead, basically.
He gets killed with the swift death.
That's what I do.
As we take a break. Danielson's on commentary, as I mentioned, and he
was incredible. If I don't mention that,
we come back and Pac sidesteps a charge, and Claudio posts himself. There's a Hurricane Rana off the apron, a Sai moonsault.
Hurricane Rana. That's what Tony Khan should use when he works blood and guts. Yeah,
he hits such a good moonsault that even Danielson has to praise Pac.
Khan hero.
Oh, that's really good.
It looks like Claudio's going to catch Pac. Hitting a moonsault off the apron, but Pac spins it into a DDT and a top rope springboard elbow back inside for 2. Goes for the shooting star, rolls through and gets his head taken off.
Khan bar. Jericho's list.
Yeah.
Uppercut from Claudio gets 2. Giant swing. Ricola bomb gets countered. It's a standing brutalizer, basically, on Claudio, but he rolls out into a sharpshooter and into a crossface. The exchange pin attempts. Eventually, though, Pac gets the crucifix. 1, 2, 3. He defeats Claudio. He advances in the Owen Hart Cup. Post-match, it looks like they're going to have a bit of a show of respect, but Castagnoli shrugs it off and walks away. Danielson says, hey, sometimes these things happen. And there's a stare down between Pac and Danielson to close out the show, which could be the semi-finals if Danielson can beat Shingo at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, you will. I would describe this, given the caliber of the wrestlers involved, generously as just good enough. Maybe a minor letdown. This didn't really do a great deal for me, if I'm being absolutely brutally honest. Like, the odd moment was great. Like, the way Pac sells the swing is
flailing
better than anybody else, because it looks like you could break his neck if it, like, looks like peril. Doesn't look like a fun spot when Pac's there.
That's his body control, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like actual peril. Like, don't drop him, he'll break his neck. But, like, that's what you would want to do, basically.
And when Shane held his T-shirt down.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I could do any better. I'm just saying.
It's the most relatable thing that stupid little billionaire son twat has ever done in his life. So let's not dig him out for that. And another thing, the timing of the shooting star roll through, uppercut, tremendous. There was a good uppercut on the outside as well. But I just was kind of there for these two. And I think the strength of the remainder of the show has allowed them to almost get away with a bit of a subpar main event. It's one of those where you can't say elements of it weren't pretty awesome because it's these two. They got way better in them.
Yeah, that time.
Or maybe they just don't have the best. Maybe they don't have the best chemistry. People will say Death Before Dishonor last year was great. I don't think it was great. I think it was very good. Maybe they just don't have a classic in them.
I said to him yesterday, because he said this on the preview, and I said 4.25 stars, and he went, so 3 stars.
That's the deflation.
It's never a guarantee, is it? That, like, two great wrestlers come together and it's great. We've seen plenty of examples of just some people just don't have a chemistry.
It was good.
I'm kind of glad you said this, a bit relieved, because I was thinking I was going to have to come in and say, well, it's not for me, but some stuff isn't for me, and some stuff's for lots of other people, the sickos, whatever. I don't think
it's the sickos would have
felt nothing.
I don't think the sickos would have raved about this.
Yeah,
it just wasn't a great match.
This just didn't generate any. Like you point about the arms folded thing. I'm not watching it going rubbish, but I'm not watching it feeling
rubbish.
Yeah, I got nothing. I have nothing to say about the.
I don't know about
super impressive exchange of moves. An endless stream of super impressive exchange of moves, and like Halflet books the breakdown of the BCC part 1 million. I did quite like that.
Yeah,
like Claudio and Brian's continual like
Brian just these things happen.
Yeah, they've got this Discord, and it's existed before Anarchy in the Arena, and you think it's going to carry on as such. If it's not Nigel screwing Danielson in this tournament, could be Claudio, and that getting like knocked out at this stage might be part of it.
That would be quite funny if Nigel screws Danielson and he's just flipping out. Claudio goes, as you said, these things happen. So,
yeah.
Hey, Claudio and McGuinness. If McGuinness isn't up for a big pressure spot at Wembley in a singles, they could do Mox and Danielson versus Claudio and Nige.
I like that.
I've got your name, McGinn Swiss. So.
I take everything I've just said back.
Let us know your thoughts on AEW.
You've really pulled a rabbit out of a hat, and Nigel McGuinness would love that. Magic.
I love magic. You're such a loser, you.
I don't mind magic, but I don't like magic.
What's wrong with magic? It's literally f***ing called magic. I don't like magic. I don't like joy.
You did it on that documentary on the network a few years ago, and it was giving me the ick. It was like,
so you don't like orgasms next.
I always wanted to get to WWE, but first pick a card, any card. So,
let us know your thoughts on magic.
You're a weird fella, Nigel.
And on this show in the comment section below, or on X.
It was weird when he would just do it.
Yeah, no.
It was like that.
Magic's good. It's called magic.
It was always my dream to commentate here at Royal Albert Hall, but first, pick a card.
At WhatCulture WWE.
He had a bad time with his life. And he's like, I need a hobby to like sort of make myself feel alive, and feel valuable. You know what I mean?
What an arsehole I am sometimes.
So maybe just perfected the magic hobby because he couldn't do the other one because he'd been injured. You are on the psychopath deal.
You've shone a mirror on me there.
You know when he can apparently there's a test he can do. I had a mate from work, one of my best mates.
Yeah, the John Ronson psychopath test.
Yeah, you take it.
At WhatCulture WWE on X.
All right, go and buy a ticket to his close-up magic show over all in weekend.
I love magic. It's called magic.
Go to his show then. He's selling tickets probably. He's kind of weird like that. Go to his little evening. Nigel McGuinness' Night of Magic. Right there.
A what?
Go.
A what?
Tell me how it goes.
It's magic, so it's probably going to be good because it's called magic.
If you want to know Michael Sidgwick's favourite magician, ask us because me and Sidge are doing a Q&A tomorrow.
I've actually got one.
Is it Nigel McGuinness?
No.
You can follow all of us on X. You can follow Michael Hamflet at
Mr. David Blaine. No, Michael Hamflet.
You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow all of us at WhatCulture WWE. Follow our brilliant and long-suffering producer at It's Adam Nicholas. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts.
You'll never get one as good as this whole week. You just won't. If I listen to Dynamite review with anybody, it's not going to be you get everything.
It's not a sticker, it's a fact. Number one.
Everything.
This has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamlet Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.